Welcome to the Iron Self podcast, where we jump into health, fitness, mindset, and becoming the best version of yourself. Today with your hosts, Mike and Kayla Minion. Welcome back to the Iron Self podcast.
Hey guys.
So today we are talking about changing our state.
And are we talking about moving in the States?
No, I don't mean moving interprovincially or through different states. I mean changing your state, your emotional state, or how you're feeling state. What does that mean? So what is our state?
So to me, our state just means however you're feeling in the given time or moment, right? So we could be feeling good, we could be feeling bad, we could feel anxious, we could feel nervous, we could be upset. There's a million different ways that you can feel.
We could be energized!
Wow. We could be that. But the idea of this is taking it from, say, if you are in a negative place, if you're having a rough day, if you've been having a rough week. How do we get out of that funk, right? This is what we're talking about when we're talking about changing your state. Because if you are in a blissful, joyful, amazing state all the time, why would you want to switch that, right? So this is more for the people, or for us too, when you get into those states where it's like everything seems to be going against you. It doesn't matter what you do in the morning. You wake up and you start on the wrong foot, and then it just keeps going.
It snowballs from there. You're trudging through.
You are Indiana Jones running away from the giant boulder.
So, why would we want to change our state? I mean, most of us don't want to feel shitty. Let's be honest. I mean, maybe you do.
Nobody does.
All the power to you. But most of us don't want to feel shitty, so we're usually trying to find a way to make ourselves feel better. And a lot of the time, we will reach for food. We will reach for, I'm going to call it like...
social media. The immediate gratification. Something that will be like, if I look at this and it's happy butterflies, I'm going to be happy butterflies.
We might actually, it may be recreational drugs, it might be alcohol, like there's so many different things that you might pick to try to change that state, to try and take you maybe out of how you're feeling. Mm-hmm. And if you've listened to any of the previous podcasts, you will know that you need to feel to heal.
Super important to have those feelings, to acknowledge them, and to figure out why they're there in the first place, and then kind of work past that.
Yeah, working to question them. One of the big things is when we have a feeling or emotion come up, I mean, they don't always come up at the most quote-unquote convenient time, you know? Or you're like me, and you're like the week before your period, and you're hormonal, and you feel a little bit nuts.
Universe confirms.
But you got to start questioning these. Like, where is it coming from? Why am I feeling this way? You know, where in my body do I feel it? Because this is going to start to bring it back and give you back your power versus I'm just feeling nuts and I don't understand why.
I think one of the biggest things that you can do is figure out where the feeling's coming from first, and then asking yourself truly if it is valid and if it is true, right? So if you're like, whatever, if you're like, I feel bad because I think I'm a bad person, or yeah,
because I feel like I'm not enough.
I feel like I've been a bad person. Okay, is that valid and true? Can you give me at least 4 facts that state that you are not enough, or that you are what you think you are? If you can't give me 4 right now that I can't knock down, then sure, I might believe you. But I'm willing to bet that if you gave me 4 reasons why you're not a good person, or why you don't deserve the best life, that they're probably pretty shallow reasons, and they're probably put there by yourself.
A lot of our emotions are self-imposed, right? They come back to our perception, and our perception determines our reality. So what you perceive to be true will become your reality. Your brain doesn't know the difference between the emotion right now of feeling fearful and the emotion of like excited. They are the same emotion, it's just a different feeling in our body. And when we start to feel anxious or fearful based on maybe something that we're seeing in the media or whatever that might be, your brain doesn't understand that this is not your current reality. This is taking place outside of you. It is not in your physical location. So therefore your brain still puts you through a full fight or flight response, a full stress response takes place in your body, and now we have people that are living with chronic anxiety. Well, why am I living with chronic anxiety? Well, because you're constantly in that heightened state, that stressed out state, and your body is just running out on all of its main hormone receptors, its chemicals, to give you this stress response, to light you up and to make your brain feel like it's in a constant alarm system going, hey, you might die, like we are in survival mode.
Your brain is always looking for things that could kill you. Quite literally, your brain is there for survival at the very base level. So your brain is always thinking, what's about to fall from the sky and crush me? Or, you know, that the way that person just looked at me means they're judging me and maybe they're dangerous. Like your mind is literally doing this. Even when you don't have those thoughts yourself, subconsciously, your brain is always trying to keep you alive. So if your brain is that powerful that it can create your reality, then coming out of a certain state or changing your state all comes back to the internal thoughts and the processes going on in your mind and figuring out how to control those to your benefit.
So there are a couple different ways that we can begin to change our state, and I would love to dive into each and every single one because I think they all have a purpose. Now, that doesn't mean you pick one and you only use that one. You might use them like tools in your toolbox. There's a different tool that you're going to use depending on your day, depending on your location, depending on your perception. Like there's just so many factors that kind of go into this. So one of my favorite ways is music. Like throw on some great dancing tunes, whatever gets the beats going for you, and move your body. Like you might not feel like moving your body. You know, like when you're in a shitty mood and somebody puts on a song and you kind of grumble. Grumble. Just put on a good song that you like, that you know, that you normally enjoy. Put it on and just stupidly move your body. Like it doesn't have to be anything great. You just move, see how you're feeling. And then as the time goes on with the song, all of a sudden you're going to notice that you're vibing with the beat. And you're just kind of going with it, and your state changes because music has that power. It has that ability to change your state. I mean, I think back to, you know, when I was going through depression, and often when I was going through a really hard time in my life, I will tell you right now, the song that I would put on was 9 Inch Nails' Hurt.
It's not a great song if you're going through some shit.
No, but you know what? I resonated with it.
Yeah.
So I was going through some shit, and I was like also going through some shit with the song. Like we were doing it together. But it wasn't lifting my spirits. It was making me stay in that state.
For me, for changing state, one of my favorite ways is getting up and getting moving. I don't dance. I don't dance. But the reality is,
with enough alcohol, you do dance.
But then I'm changing my state with something else. That is not from the dancing. No, but I've never been a big dancer unless I have liquid courage in me. So for me, getting up and moving means something completely different. For me, it means getting out and doing a sport, going for a bike ride. Hell, I'll go for a jog. If you see me just get up and start running my dogs, you know there's some shit going on in my head because it's not something that I love to do. I'm very good at running. I just don't enjoy it. It's not my thing. So switching my state though, by the time I get back from a good run, if I go anything 10K or better, when I get back, I'm good to go. I'm like bouncing again. I'm back to my usual self. Same thing as if I go, if I go skiing or if I take the kids to the park and I actually play with the kids, or if I go play basketball, something that I enjoy doing and just pick up and go and do it. Just blank my mind out. If I'm having a terrible day, I'll be like, nope, I'm going to go lift some weights for the next hour and a half, whatever. This is me time, right? So for me, getting motion is lotion, and just really focusing on a task at hand and allowing whatever might have been that trigger me, just letting it go and moving on with my day in something positive that I love. That changes my state.
One of the things that you kind of alluded to in there, which was going to be my next one, is getting outdoors. So getting out in Mother Nature, being in nature. We can call it earthing if you're taking off your shoes. If you're in Alberta in the middle of winter, taking off your shoes outdoors might be frowned upon because it is very cold. But just getting out and being surrounded by nature and the energy that is within nature is so important. You will notice that if you are having a crappy day and you go for a walk outdoors, you feel better. Even after a 5-minute walk, you feel better. Just walk the block if you're having that moment of like, oh my goodness. And if you live in a city and you don't have like trees and stuff like that readily available, like a trail or something to go down, maybe you walk the block and you just pay attention to things that might be found in nature, like the one tree on the corner of the street, or
that tree that every dog pees on.
Some people even, but or like a flower box, or you know, whatever it is. Maybe it's just the smell of the air coming in through your nasal cavity. Whatever it is, I call it a walking meditation. But you're paying attention to your 5 senses, and you're getting outdoors. I mean, I used to live in the concrete jungle. Like I used to live downtown Victoria, where you know you don't have access to walking trails. But for me, getting out to the ocean, just walking a couple of blocks and being at the ocean, that was like really rejuvenating for my body at lunchtime.
That was her grounding. When I first met Kayla, most of our dates ended up with us walking down to the ocean, and no complaints. I absolutely loved it. But I could tell right away that she was very drawn to that, and that every time we went there, it was a release. It was something where she could just go there. And I don't know if it's the sound of the waves or if it was just the ocean and the power from that. But seeing that release from a very early point in our relationship, I saw how important that was to her.
Oh my gosh, the ocean has been calling me. I grew up a couple blocks away from the ocean. This is totally a tangent. But I used to go and sit out on the rocks and just be surrounded by the water. I would wait until like there was low tide and I'd walk out this one island, and then I'd jump across to another little island that you could get to only with low tide, and just sit out there, and there was nothing but seagulls, and it was the occasional
avoiding the magical poop fly from the sky.
the occasional crane, but you could watch the sea otters, you could watch the waves, you could smell the salty air. And for me, it was very cleansing. Like I let the sound of the waves wash away my fear, my anxiety, my worry. And I just was there. I also found that same kind of aspect when I would go into the mountains, where, you know, you're just with the breeze, you're just with nature, and the power and beauty that exists within nature can be very grounding and very energizing.
Yeah. Nature is powerful, right? Like that's one of my favorite things to do is exactly that, is go to the mountains. I don't have to do anything specific, whether it's a hike or skiing, snowboarding, whatever it might be. If I am in the mountains, I am in my happy place, and I come back energized from that. Now, another great technique for changing our emotions or switching our state here is to me anyways, a very valuable one, is a breathing meditation. I'm a nerd for breathing. I love being able to relax my body through my breath and be very present and very mindful, right? So mindful awareness of your thoughts. So again, somebody might be like, well, that doesn't help me. If I have like stinking thinking, I shouldn't be alone inside my head. When the actual opposite is very true. You need to learn to be comfortable with your own thoughts and find that safe place, that safe haven within.
I love that you're saying this about breathing, because breath work is very important to me as well. I mean, I don't have as dedicated of a breath work practice as you do, but there's certain things that I'm like, ooh, I need that tool. So I get really bad anxiety.
This morning.
I get bad anxiety in general.
But you were telling me this morning. We got a ridiculous energy bill today, and Kayla said she had to stand there staring at it and just focus on her breath so she wouldn't implode.
Yeah, well, I was like, I'm a fainter. I don't know why. It's just a thing.
It's a stress mechanism. She was a possum in another life. Quick, down!
I might have been a possum in another life. There is that chance to play dead. But whenever I get like crazy stressed out, and I've noticed this like when Keegan was going for surgery or whatever, I get almost ready to faint. And so I need to focus on my breath to bring me back into the present, to stop me from fainting. And so I do tactical breathing. So I inhale for 4 and I exhale for 4 and I inhale for 4. And there can be people talking to me, going around me, whatever. I literally have no idea what they are saying. I am breathing because that's the only thing that I can focus on to keep me present. Yeah. And then all of a sudden after, 4 or 5 rounds of that, I come back into the room, into reality.
The mental clarity is back.
And the mental clarity is back, and I'm okay to be there. I might still have like a queasy feeling in my tummy because that sticks around for a while. But all of a sudden I'm not as anxious, I feel more grounded, and I am in control. And a lot of that is that we can change our state completely based on our breath, and our breath is something that you can control at all times. I mean, think of Tony Robbins. Before Tony Robbins goes on stage, he does Bastrika breathing. Like, why not pump yourself up? Give yourself that crazy stress response, right? That's what it is.
For anybody that doesn't know what Bastrika breathing is, it is quite literally a forced exhale where you're focusing on the exhale, not so much the inhale. So it is a super ventilation technique, which increases your CO2 tolerance. It increases your available oxygen to your cells and your tissue. Great for energizing.
It's really good for energizing. It actually gives you a crazy head rush right after you do it.
Super ventilation.
It is super ventilation. But like, there's different kinds of breathing techniques depending on what you're looking for. If you're looking to become energized, maybe check out some Bastrika breathing. If you're looking to calm down that nervous system, maybe looking at some tactical or diaphragmatic breathing.
Box breathing can be your best friend. Those extended exhales and then the holds at the end, that's going to help you.
If you're looking to calm your state so you can sleep, maybe you're doing some cooling nostril breathing. If you're looking to balance your energy, maybe you're doing some Nadi Shodhana, like some alternate nostril breathing. I mean, like, there's all of these different breathing techniques out there, but most of us don't use them. And I think it's so crazy. We're looking for a magic pill. We're looking for some form of magic that exists to help us lose weight, to help us de-stress, to help us not be anxious. But it all lies in your breath. And
breathing is one of those things in your autonomic nervous system. So you will breathe without consciously thinking about it. But when you put conscious effort to your breath, it is powerful.
And I think that we could do a whole episode on breath.
I think we will do a full episode on breath. We'll probably bring back one of our friends for that episode, but that is another time.
Yeah, so breath is a great way to help change your state, I think is what we were saying. If you're ready to make a change in your life, step into the best version of you, check out our Iron Self Transformation Program. Find more info on our website, www.ironbodycoach.com. So I get another one. So another way to change your state is, depending on the person, is to get out and be around people. So if you are in a grouchy mood and you go out into a crowd and walk around, maybe you might be less grouchy. If you are a person that hates being around people,
probably don't go and hang out with a bunch of random people.
Right. So with a lot of females, when we are feeling stressed, we are in the need to be nurtured and involved. That's usually our technique for helping us de-stress. We want to find that commonality.
Just finding your community, your people, your
right.
tribe.
So if you're a mom, maybe you go into a mom's group. If you're not a mom, maybe...
If you're one of the single ladies, maybe you go dance with the single ladies.
Yeah, so find whatever the group is that is kind of your tribe, that is who you resonate with. That's who I would suggest as a female. That's a lot of the time where you de-stress, is finding that commonality, right? For men, they can do the same thing, but a lot of the time, men need to be alone, right? Like, they just close down and they need that
man
space.
Cave.
Yeah, that's why they have a man cave. But a lot of the time, that's the thing. So if they need to close down and have their space, maybe we give that to them and say, you know, like, hey, you seem really upset. I think you need to go have some you time.
I agree. Take the kids.
But I think, like, no, but I have said that before. I think you need to walk away right now and come back when you're ready to change your state. And we do this with our kids. We do it with each other. But it's a really great technique. We say to the kids, you know, you're feeling very emotional right now. Why don't you go take some time by yourself? So it's not time out. Like, I think this is where people get mistaken. Why don't you go take some time by yourself? And when you're feeling like you're ready to change how your behavior or how it is that you are feeling and come back with a new attitude, is usually what we say to the kids, then you're more than welcome to. You're not stuck to your room. You're not stuck to an area. It's just come back when you're ready to act a little different.
Well, that's it. It's not... With our kids specifically, because she's talking about this, it's never about a punishment. It's more about, again, having them change their state. Because kids, for everybody that's listening with kids, I sure as hell know you're resonating with me, kids are emotion. They are the most raw form of emotion because they haven't figured out exactly how to regulate all of that quite yet. especially when they're younger. So when they come to us with these super heightened emotions, that's totally natural. And it's not like we're going to give them hell for it and be like, you don't get to be like that. Not a chance. You get to feel your emotions and you get to experience that. But you don't get to do that just screaming at everybody here. So we're going to get you away from the crowd. Again, not a punishment. We're just giving you some time on your own to figure out your emotions. Come back and talk to us when you're ready to talk. And then we'll figure it out.
And I think that technique comes back with a following technique of reflection, right?
Which works for us adults as well.
I think reflection works for everybody. So taking that time out might be really beneficial. You can reflect on how you're feeling. You can reflect on maybe where in your body you're feeling it.
Why you were feeling that way to begin with.
What kind of caused that feeling? Why maybe you could change the way you feel. Can you see it from another perspective? Can you acknowledge, okay, I was feeling really upset about this. You know what? It wasn't really all that valid that I was screaming at you because I didn't want to eat my broccoli.
You should have just ate your broccoli, Kayla. No, but this is so important for adults too, though, right? Like if you have a fight with your spouse, being able to take some time away, right? Step back for a second, look at the whole scenario. Maybe you guys were so heightened in your emotions that you didn't see their side at all. Maybe it was all the way you were thinking and you were right and they were wrong is all that you think when you're in the moment. But then when you take a step back, maybe you weren't 100% right. Maybe their views were valid and true as well to them and their point of view. So being able to take an objective look helps you switch that state, because if you don't acknowledge how somebody else is feeling and why they might be feeling that way, then you're doing a disservice to both them and yourself, because then in your mind you're always right and they have to be wrong, when the reality is their views might be just as valid and true as yours to them and where they were coming from.
Yeah, it's all perception.
It's all about that perspective, right? Your brain perceives the truth, whatever that is, and your truth might be different because maybe you didn't have the whole story yet. So again, taking that objective look is so important.
Okay, now it's your turn. Next one.
We have to do more?
Yeah. No. Okay. Well,
Okay. Changing state. More of them. I don't know.
Journaling.
Okay.
Journaling would be a good one.
Gratitude journaling.
Woo! Gratitude journaling about whatever it is you're feeling. You know, I'm not a big journaler. Like, I don't sit down and journal for 5 minutes every day or whatever it is that like people recommend. I journal when the spirit moves me. Kind of like I run when the spirit moves me.
Never.
A couple times a year. But no, I do. I journal when the spirit moves me to do it. And most people feel like when they're journaling, it's like writing about their day. But I don't journal like that. I ask myself questions. So if I notice I'm feeling anxious, I will literally write on the piece of paper, why am I feeling anxious? And then I will wait and I will listen to an internal message. And the internal message might say, you know, you're feeling anxious because you've overextended what you can actually do. And I'm like, and then, okay, well, why did I do that? Well, I felt the need to please everybody. You know, when we start to ask ourselves the questions that kind of pertain to it, we can start to get a little deeper in the matter. And I've noticed a lot when I journal with question work, I have things come up that I didn't realize was even affecting me, or that situation even mattered anymore. I've had memories come up that I completely forgot about. And it's in those moments that we can begin to take that objective view of ourselves and go, okay, I understand now why I'm feeling this way. You know, I didn't realize that I was triggered, or I didn't realize that this was taking place because of this.
It's awesome. I think one more, because Kayla wanted me to do one more. I like to go somewhere that holds a significant place in my heart. Somewhere that really connects me with who I am. If I have a really bad day, this doesn't happen often. I actually really do enjoy my life for the most part. But no, the one thing is, if I'm having like the worst day, I will actually go to the grave of our first son. So I will go there because that to me held significant value. And it just kind of, it grounds me. I don't know any other way to say it, but somewhere that holds significant value to you, whether that's, you know, if it's somewhere that you proposed, or if it's somewhere that, you know, something in your life happened that was super important to you, that can help you too. It can really switch that state into a state of gratitude for whatever that was. For me, it was gratitude that, you know, everything else in my life went great. Sure, there's hiccups along the way, but everything else you get to be thankful for. So for me, it's finding somewhere that proves reasons why you should be grateful. Kind of, yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I used to, before kids, I used to go for a drive. And what it did was it allowed me time to be in my own head, time to think. And really, at the end of the day, it was connecting me to my breath. It was connecting me to my thoughts. I was reflecting. Like,
That's meditation.
It was an awake meditative state. But I was doing it without consciously thinking, like, I need to go do an awake meditation because I'm feeling a little bit wacky right now.
She feels wacky all the time.
It's a normal feeling, okay? If you're looking at my wheel of emotion, wacky is definitely on there.
Not wrong.
But if that's the case, then maybe you just find an activity that you enjoy that you can do, I'm going to say, monotonously, without a lot of effort or thought that kind of goes into that. So for some people, maybe you have a pool table and maybe you're going to shoot pool. For others, maybe you're going to crochet or golf. This is my golf swing.
That's her golf swing. This is why Kayla does not golf. But yeah, something that is autopilot for you, whatever that might be.
And I think the biggest message that we're really trying to give you today is that we have the power within us to change our state. If you're feeling anxious, overwhelmed, depressed, if you're feeling sad, if you're feeling happy, if you're feeling joyous, we have the power to 100% change our state. Now, yes, activities or things will take place in your day that will affect your mood, your energy, your state. But at the end of the day, the responsibility is up to you to change that and whatever mechanism that has. But we wanted to make sure that you knew that you had the tools within you at any time. You don't physically need to go out and purchase something. You don't need to take something. You literally have the tools within you to help change your state and to step into the best version of yourself. I mean, I always think that on my really, really good days, like this morning where I was feeling like really good, I'm like, this is a moment where I should like record a video for myself or a voice message. Just like, hey Kayla, I know you're probably having a shitty day, but I just want you to know that you're going to rock this shitty day. And then I could like play it back to myself on my bad days. I always think that that would be a good thing. But having those moments where you can remind yourself.
Yeah, I think shitty days are a fallacy too. You can have shitty moments in a day. You look at the entire day. Most days, there's something good. And you, again, have that power to create something good every day. So even if it's just, if you have the worst day, like your dog died, your truck blew up, you know, wife ran away with the mailman, the worst country song you could ever imagine. If you are having that day, you can still bring something good out of it. Practice gratitude. That's the best way to... I love switching my state with practicing gratitude. If I'm having a shit day, I can still sit back and say things that I'm thankful for in that moment within the day. So then my day can't be a wash. I can't say I had a bad day. I had bad moments in the day.
Right. So like things that you're grateful for. Maybe you focus on your breath. I'm grateful for my breath. I'm grateful
I still have breath in my lungs.
I'm grateful that I can hear. I'm grateful that I can see. I'm grateful that I saw a robin today or whatever it is.
I'm grateful that I have a house. I might have just paid for a crazy gas and energy bill for this house, but I still have a house that I get to live in.
Yeah. And I'm grateful that I can afford to pay that.
And I'm grateful that we have this podcast to give this message to everybody that's listening today.
I'm super grateful to share all of our knowledge and expertise with you guys. If you're loving these podcasts, share them. Please share them on your social media. Tag us in it. Share it with a friend or a family member that you feel will benefit from it. Because at the end of the day, we don't get to share this podcast unless you share it. This is social sharing at its best. And we really want to make sure that everybody has that opportunity to step into the best version of themselves.
We all deserve that.
Thank you so much for listening today. Please check back in a couple days for another episode.
Have a great day, guys.
Bye for now.